into the soil of innovation, cultivate knowledge, and harvest opportunities for farmers in the city of aquatic splendor. My name is Taiwo Barua, and yes, just as we did it last week, I'm going to be doing this together with my co-host, Adedeji Odulesi is also with me on the program this afternoon. Good afternoon,
viewers
to you.
or listeners, depending on what platform you connecting with us.
All right, then. So let's get down to business. I mentioned earlier that on today's edition of the program, apparently it is packed with fresh insight, fresh from a bit different from what you heard last week on the program. And I did say that when it comes to the person who matters the most after Mr. Governor, right? The next person who matters the most when it comes to agriculture in Lagos, aside you and I, it is the Honourable Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Systems in Lagos. I have the honour of hosting this afternoon the Honourable Commissioner, Abisola Olusanya. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
All right, it's good to have you in the studio.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, then let's get down to business. Let's talk urban farming this afternoon and food security in Lagos. Talk to me. What is your ministry, or what have you been doing, concerning urban farming and food security in Lagos?
Okay, so a large chunk of Lagos is considered urban, and so with regards to urban farming, the Lagos State Agricultural Development Authority, it's an agency under the ministry, and it has the mandate to actually train farmers and as well propagate initiatives, particularly towards encouraging a lot of people to get into urban farming. And so in the last 6 years of Mr. Babajide Olusola administration, they have actually been pushing a lot of training, capacity building, empowerment programs tailored at enhancing production capabilities, processing capabilities, as well as marketing capabilities across the state. Just yesterday, through the LSADA, again, the MPFS program, they had done some asset distribution to over, I think, 2,000 farmer groups. And so this is just one way of showcasing what we do towards supporting our farmer base, our processor base, and like I said, our marketing base. But aside what the LSADA as an authority is doing, we also have several programs. Some are collaborations with the federal government and, say, the World Bank. And then we also have strictly Lagos State programs that continuously support developmental objectives in ensuring that we have increased food supply and increased food production particularly. And lately our focus has actually been on transforming our food supply network, particularly looking at markets and considering that Lagos is a market city state. And so for that reason, trying to enhance how the market infrastructure receives food, how it distributes food, and the impact of this on food price points, food hygiene, food quality, and the quantity that obviously is able to go into the nooks and crannies of Lagos. And what we have seen so far so good is that investments in the past decades have particularly been towards production. You don't see investment in the downstream sector of the agricultural value chain. But the end result is that what happens downstream is actually what should catalyze what happens upstream and not the other way around. And so this administration's focus has actually been on that. And the little we have done so far has actually helped us see the importance of that, and also how government's intervention can actually be more streamlined, more precise, and the end consumer actually feels the impact of that. So through initiatives such as the Onje Eco Food Discount Market Program, through the Onje Eco Farmer Subsidy Program, through the Appeals Program, through the Lagos Cares Program, through the Lagos Agripreneurship Program, through the Lagos Agri Scholars Program, through the Lagos Agri Innovation Club, and so many others that I can mention are all geared towards enhancing food security in Lagos and ensuring that the end consumers, that is the Lagos citizenry, feel the impact of all of these things that we've been doing.
In the course of all of these that you reeled out now, you had mentioned the downstream and the upstream. Can
Yes.
you elaborate? Can you expatiate?
As is prevalent with any value chain or any any value chain, you always have the three segments, which will be upstream, midstream, and downstream. So upstream would be your primary. It could be production, it could be whatever it is, but that will be the primary or the core of a sector or a value chain. So for us in agriculture, the upstream would be your production. So your farmers, your irrigation experts, your research network, and what have you. Midstream would be processing. So those who process, and your processors include your large manufacturers, taking the raw materials from upstream and processing it into what value has been added to. And then your downstream will be your market, which is your distribution, your retail, wholesale, just everything that goes into ensuring that the end consumer gets the end product on his or her table. So upstream, midstream, downstream is how any segment or how any sector would be categorized.
So why is the Lagos State government focusing on the downstream?
Yeah, so like I said, we understand our place of competitive advantage. We understand the dynamics of what makes Lagos Lagos. Looking at the demography, looking at the terrain, looking at the geographic size, and the characteristics of Lagos as a city, we understand that we are the largest market in sub-Saharan Africa. Today, we would say Lagos has a population of over 24 million people and continuously increasing. And this puts a lot of pressure on our land. And we are the most densely populated state in the country. We are the smallest. We occupy less than 4% of the geographic size of Lagos, but we inhabit over 10% of the population. And like I said, this is growing at a very fast pace. And so if anyone wants to set up a business in Africa today, they would always consider Lagos as a market destination because the population alone is a large market. I mean, the size of Ghana has a population of over 24 million people, and that is a country. Lagos is a state, the smallest in size in Nigeria, but it has the same population as Ghana. So it tells you that if you want to capture the whole of Ghana, Lagos alone gives you that market. And so that is what Lagos is to West Africa, to Africa as a whole. And so that is why Lagos is considered a market city state. Aside that, the disposable income available to the average Lagosian would be many times the size of what is available to people or citizens in other parts of the country. And this is also as a result of Lagos being a port city, Lagos being the commercial nerve center of the country. And so you would see that the economics in Lagos are particularly different from that of other states in the country. So we understand we're a market city state. And when I say market, I don't mean market just in terms of, karakata or, trading and all that. It is a commerce city state. And so when you understand that what you need to do to get Lagos on top of the food chain, even when it is not producing as much, is to organize the market in a way that you see what is demanded, you understand the supply gaps, you know how those gaps can be filled precisely and efficiently. And so the inefficiencies within the system are taken care of in such a way that it leaves less room for inconsistencies, less room for arbitrage by middlemen who would probably take advantage of the consumers. And it also leaves less room for errors with regards to interventions by government, private sector, multilateral agencies, and what have you. And so when there's precision in the game, precision leads to efficiency. Efficiency leads to proper deployment of resources, less waste in the system, better price points eventually for the consumers, and back again to the farmers or producers who would see the benefit because now they can actually measure what it is they have produced vis-a-vis the returns, and people can plow back into the system, and then the cycle continues again.
Okay, let's see. You mentioned agripreneur.
Yes.
When you were rolling out the objectives.
Yes.
So you are somebody that's passionate about the youth.
Yes.
We have had programs where we sing about
Ishagbe,
Ishagbe,
yes,
and you tell us we do say Oko. We have
yes,
gone past
another,
that.
yes.
So what exactly are you doing with the youth?
Okay, so like I said, the programs I've mentioned are largely youth oriented, and it's for no other reason than the fact that we see that in the agricultural and food system space, the perception is that it is a backward sector. It is a sector for retirees. It is a sector where if you don't have anything doing, maybe you can consider it. So it doesn't seem as attractive. And as the population continues to grow, and Nigeria is positioned to be up to maybe 400 million people by year 2050, that's almost double the size of what the entire country is today. It means you are largely going to have a youthful population below the age of 25 or at best 30. You would have at least 60% of your population in that age bracket. Who is going to provide the food for this teeming population of 400 million by 2050? You understand? So when you consider the gaps now and you look into the future, it is grim, and that is why we need to ensure that the youth come into the sector. But how will they come into the sector? It is by making them see the attractiveness of it. Years back, anyone that considered football as a career or being in the entertainment space, I want to be a musician, then your parents would probably smack you and tell you that you need to have your head rewired. But today, a lot of parents are pushing their children into the sectors because they've seen the benefits behind it, the returns on investment, the popularity, just the gains from it. But in the agricultural space, we haven't done the same for all practitioners. And this is not what, the youth want to see. Right now, we want to see immediate rewards. We want to see the gratification, or we want to receive the gratification behind it. And so if we, as the custodians, do not put this to the fore and show the youth that, see, there's benefit in coming into the sector now. There is money to be made. This thing is not as backward as you think. A lot of people are utilizing technologies now. You don't need to put in as much labor work as is expected or as is perceived, and they can really see this for what it truly is. Then we will attract more people into the space. Aside that, we need to also cut off this perception that agriculture is only about production. It is the entire chain. So you could be a logistics provider, you own a fleet of trucks or a fleet of bikes or a fleet of whatever mode of transportation is it to move goods. You could be a warehouse owner. You have storage spaces where people can keep the agricultural commodities. You could actually even be a fintech where you help to connect the buyer to the seller, or you could connect an end retailer to someone who does the supplies. You could be a farmer, you understand, and you don't even necessarily need to have your traditional open farm. It could be a hydroponics farm, an aeroponics farm, a vertical farm. You could be a fish farmer, aquaculture, but in a way that is so modernized that, the utilization of technology alone should entice more people. So we try to push this to the fore. And so under the Lagos Agri Scholars Program, which is what we are running with some secondary schools, the Lagos Agripreneurship Program, which is what we try to do with undergrads, graduates, and those who probably even didn't go to university but would still like to be in the space. And then the Agri Innovation Club, which essentially is a club for existing business owners in the food space. And when I say food, this constitutes agriculture in itself and those who are not even practitioners in that real sense of it. You have chefs, you have those who are processing and doing things that are a far departure from what you consider to be agriculture, but we understand that they are stakeholders of ours. So bringing all those programs to an audience that otherwise didn't see the need for being in the space and letting them see the attractiveness in it. We continue to push that. And then when you have other programs like the appeals program that ended just a year and a half ago or so, which was largely tailored to the youth as well. And then you have the Lagos Cares program, and then a lot of the support programs that we do as well, which we largely leave a huge chunk to the youth. We are youth-centric because that is the future of our sector, and so we need to consciously make decisions and push initiatives in the direction that will bring more of them.
All right,
in.
The Ministry of Agri and Food Systems in Lagos is youth-centric because they believe that that is the future. of Lagos and by extension, Nigeria. This is Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. You are listening to Lagos Farmers. Quickly, let's take a look at what the roads are saying. We'll take you to Apapa at this time. Traffic around Boundary Roundabout is slightly busy as a result of closing hours and market activities within that area. Boundary roundabout to Marine Beach bus stop is fast. The return journey from Marine Bridge exiting Wadajegunle is also fast, but approaching AP filling station, it is slow. All right, I am sure if you're just tuning in, you might be wondering who has been schooling you on the show this afternoon. We have in the studio this afternoon the Honourable Commissioner, Ministry of Agric and Food Systems in Lagos State, Abisola Olusanya, is our guest on the show. All right, you had mentioned a whole lot concerning food security, youth empowerment in the agri space. But then one major thing we cannot ignore is infrastructure. I might be interested in agriculture, but I'm also concerned about the state of my vehicle. Now, from the inner part of Ikorodu to Ekpe to Badagry, what is the state or what are the state of these roads? If I have a farm in any of these areas, what's up in mobility? I mean, the cost of transportation, bringing those things, the produce from these farms to the city metropolis is on the high side. But if these roads are in good shape, if the infrastructure, is in good shape, I'm sure these things would be cheaper. What do you think?
Okay, so I'm very happy you hammered on that because that would obviously be a challenge that a lot of producers would put probably as number one or number two on their list of what is leading to maybe less productivity. But like I said, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu is a thinker, is a pioneer, and he's doing what no other person has done in this space, and that is in ensuring that we have infrastructure that would cater to this. Now, when I say infrastructure, it may not necessarily be, the roads. Don't forget, he's actually doing a lot on roads.
Absolutely.
Right now, if you go towards the Ekpe corridor, I know that there are construction giants there right now, fixing the roads and building new road networks, and not just anyhow roads. Now they are concrete deck on pile roads. So it tells you that those roads will be there for the next 50 years and they will need less rehabilitation.
Amazing.
Or need maintenance as much as asphalt roads. But coming back to what you said, you specified certain locations and you mentioned Ekpe, Ikorodu, and Badagry because these are the three major agricultural zones
Hubs, yes.
in Lagos. And so we have taken it upon ourselves to understand and identify these areas as where we would need to have food logistics hubs. And so, as it is in any other developed country globally, you must have large aggregation centers, particularly in areas where food production is the highest. It cuts down the transit time. It also ensures that the food is more wholesome. It leads to less cost burdens on the farmers. But more importantly, there is some sort of guarantee on price point. So when you have the largest food logistics hub being built currently at Ekpe, it means all farmers within that area from Ekpe to Ibeju, and even up to, let's say, the entire Etiosa axis plus Ikorodu, because it is actually at a crux between Ikorodu and Ekpe up until Ijebu-Ode and what have you.
Sure.
You have the largest food logistics center right now in West Africa being built there, and we are working and we will be partnering with aggregators to mop up foods from this hinterland to bring to the logistics hub. Now, you mentioned, the roads inside these areas. Like I said, because of where this hub is located, the transit time is going to be far less. And aside that, we have the Eco Logistics Company, that is Ecolog, which is your cold or your temperature controlled fleet of trucks, which we also launched when we had the Produce for Lagos 500 billion offtake guarantee fund launch. And part of what this logistics company will be doing alongside other private sector logistics companies is to go into this hinterland to bring the food to the logistics hubs. And then from there, we have the middle level markets or middle level hubs, which would be your midpoint hubs to take foods from this major food logistics hub into the inner city state of Lagos. And so, in as much as our plan is not going to be 100% foolproof, but we are providing a solution that we haven't seen elsewhere in this country. It is a solution that works in other climes. We have adapted it to our own climb here, and we believe that by the time implementation is in full swing, a lot of us will see the benefits behind it. But like I said, what is more important is the guarantee on price point. For this food logistics hub, the idea is before a farmer even goes into production, there's already a fixed price on what the produce would be. So let's say before you go into your production of maize, there's already a standardized pricing of what 1 kilo or 1 ton of maize would be. The quality is specified, the quantity, quality, and any other standards that are required, they're already specified. And so a farmer can go into full swing production knowing fully well that there will be no losses down the line or the need to even start to look for an off-taker. So these are some of the things we've put in place to try to ensure that when it comes to infrastructure for a farmer, it's not about roads alone. It's about infrastructure around storage, temperature controlled storage, temperature controlled routing or transportation or mobility, and having the right offtake mechanism in place, which guarantees that when I grow, I don't need to sweat about looking for who to buy. There's already a structure in place that will take this off my hands.
Talk to me about some of the challenges your ministry face with Lagosians.
That's a very funny question, because when you say what challenges we face with Lagosians, we are here to serve. So you cannot say your customers are giving you a challenge. It's that your customers have a challenge that you need to resolve. So I think the question should actually be redirected. We should be, what challenges do Lagosians have that we should try to resolve
You
for
see,
them?
as much as you think, okay, you're in office to serve,
Yes.
just talk about the warriors and discipline guys. They've been doing a whole lot. But then when you still go out there, you find people on the pedestrian bridges across Lagos just sitting there aimlessly.
Yes.
Those are part of the challenges.
Yes.
There are people that you would give loans to and will not turn out to do what you expected them to do.
Yes.
Right? Talk to me about some of these things, because it is assumed that, okay, the government actually puts the money there.
Yes.
They put the seedlings there. They put all of these things there.
Yes.
But the ministry is not disbursing or this and that. Talk to me.
Land grabbers.
Or even land grabbers.
Yes. Okay, so I think a biggest challenge, and thank you for hammering on that, DG, is the issue of land. So there's a perception that, Ministry of Agri has so much land in the state, and this it actually doesn't work that way. So we have the Agri Lands Holding Authority. It is a land bank for the state, and this is something that was passed into law many years
Did you
down
say
the line.
land bank?
Yes,
Okay,
it's a
talk to
land
me.
bank. So when you have the physical planning ministry doing what you'd call the master plan, regional master plan. So they have the master plan for Badagry, they will have for Ekpe, they will have for Ikorodu access. It is a way of delineating clearly the utilization of various geographies within the state. And so let's say for Ikorodu, they will have areas designated for agri purposes only. But what you see is that before you can say Jack Robinson, some people have encroached on these areas.
Let me take this call. Let's see who this person is. Hello, quickly, in a minute. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
I happen to be one of the ardent listeners of Tariq Radio, and what the topic you are discussing today happens to be something that concerns me.
Please go ahead in less than a minute.
I just want to contribute my quota. Lagos happens to be a riverine area. And in my own understanding, I have a farm, but it's not in Lagos City. In my own understanding, my belief is that Lagos should concentrate on those things that are comparative advantage for Lagos. For example, if we make it such that every house in Lagos, if you have the space, grows a coconut tree. What she's saying now that it will have a ready-made market, at a point it will get so much in Lagos that coconut will be almost everywhere. That's one. The second thing I want to say is Lagos State has advantage for vegetables. Let everybody grow vegetable in their house. And the third is Lagos has advantage for fishes. Let's train people to go into fisheries.
All right, then.
If we have comparative advantage on these three alone, I want to believe that a time will come when Lagos will be selling vegetable, fish, and coconuts for the rest of the nation.
Amazing. Thank you. All right. I didn't catch your name though, but I would allow the Honourable Commissioner respond to that before we wrap it up on the show. We're running out of time already.
Okay, so it seems this man probably works in the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Systems because he has actually hammered on the three key value chains that are very attractive in Lagos: fisheries, coconut, and horticulture. That's vegetables. But it still boils down to one thing: you can continuously empower farmers to grow. If you don't take care of the infrastructure to offtake, you have done an injustice. A lot of farmers have grown, they have reared, they have caught. But when they don't have a ready market that can guarantee that their labor, their sweat, and their tears will be well rewarded by paying the right price, then you have failed the farmers. We have so many fish farmers that at the end of any fish rearing cycle, they want to sell. They cannot sell to even cover their costs. And because there is no right infrastructure in place, and here I'm referring to cold chain solutions or cold chain storage, they are forced to sell off to middlemen at prices that make them weep. And at the end of the day, they exit the business.
All right, we'll leave it at that for now.
Exactly.
We're run out of time already on the show. All right, Lagos, Nigeria, it's been an interesting conversation this afternoon on Lagos Farmers. Remember, this program has been brought to you courtesy It has been brought to you courtesy the Lagos Agriculture Development Authority. And of course, it has been anchored by myself and Adidiji Odulisi. Maximum thanks to you. We should also say a big shout out to Adirunke Toju Tubi. Big ups to you, Honourable Commissioner Abisola Olusanya, for being a part of the program this afternoon. Lagos Farmers makes a return next week, Friday at 4:30. Until then, my name is Tao Barua, and of course, big ups to Victor Oteri, our social media team. Our executive producer is Tayo Akonli. To enjoy the rest of your Friday evening.